That was a big introduction, and I'm doing an epic talk, no pressure at all on me this evening. Thank you so much for coming out. It's getting dark, it's getting cold, but we're going to make sure it's nice and warm in here, and that you giving us some time has been valuable for you. So my title of my talk is about rocking your role, rocking your many roles, because none of us have just one role. Whether you're a man or a woman, you'll have so many roles in life. You could be a parent, you could be, well, you'll definitely have been a child of someone, you could be a brother or a sister or a counsellor or a taxi driver, and also all of those roles, whatever your job title is in the work you do. So we're always juggling many roles in our work and life, and the idea is that we rock them in a really purposeful way, in a way that makes us happy, in a way that makes sure that we can achieve them, and just are able to celebrate our life. So I want to start by telling you a bit about my journey to how I got to this point of talking about being a female breadwinner, and then I'm going to share with you some research I've done about women who are the main earner, and also some top tips. Does that sound okay? There might be a bit of participation. I know you came here just to listen and passively take it all in, but there might be a bit of participation as well. Are you up for that? Yes, sort of. Okay, brilliant. So in terms of my journey, it started off many years ago. I worked in marketing, so I had quite senior marketing roles in a number of organisations. Hamptons International, a big estate agency. I worked for Schroeder Leasing, a sort of finance company, and then I went to work for a leading business school. And it was there that I found out about coaching, because a colleague who's now a really good friend came into my office, tapped me on the shoulder and said, "What next? Where are you going with your career?" And it was a really good, helpful push for me, because one of the things that quite often happens in your career is that you get comfortable, or you work hard, and you think someone will recognise you, someone will notice and give you promotion. But what typically happens is that people notice you're working hard and doing a good job and keep you there, because they think, well, they're really good, we're not going to be able to replace them, and if they're not complaining, let's keep them where they are. So her saying to me, "Where next? Where do you think you're going to go in your career?" was a helpful prompt for me. But the initial things that she described that I could do weren't right for me. So she suggested that I start to teach marketing on some of our coaching programs, our leadership programs, and I was a terrible public speaker at that point. I was a very nervous public speaker. My knees would shake, my palms would be sweaty, I wouldn't be able to get my words out, and I just wouldn't have been able to do that. So at that time when she suggested it, I just thought, no way, do you know who I am? This is not the sort of thing I'm going to be doing. And then she said, why don't you get a bigger budget or a bigger team somewhere else? And at the time my daughter was very little. I have one child, and I just thought, I don't want, and also my daughter potentially, we didn't know until she was over a year if she was completely well or not. She potentially had sickle cell disease and they couldn't tell us. So I was also worried about her health, and I wanted to keep close to home. And so the fact that she said you could go and get a bigger budget or a bigger team somewhere else, again, didn't appeal to me because of the lifestyle I wanted. I wanted, if there was an emergency, to be able to get home quickly. And then she said, what about coaching? She said, faculty come into your office, they come away motivated, and they come away with actions. Actually, you are a natural coach, and you're coaching them. To this day, I don't know if she and the faculty were flattering me. I had this L-shaped office, and people would come into my office, sit at a desk, and no one would know they were there. So in truth, they were probably just hiding out, so no one could see them. But she said I was coaching them, and my organisation was willing to support me. They were willing to send me on a coaching programme. And I've always been a person who loves learning. I love learning now. I think I'll love learning till my dying day. So I thought, well, they're going to support me to go on a coaching programme. program, why not? It's something I can add to my CV. It's something that maybe I'll learn a new skill, I'll do that. I went on this coaching program and I found it professionally and personally transformational. It just made me look at myself, looked at my ambitions, looked at the way I was doing things in a totally different way. In fact, it really felt like I was peeling off the layers of myself. So much of the things that I had been doing were not really things that I had chosen to do, were things that I felt that I was expected to do in all of those roles that I was fulfilling, what a good daughter would do, or what I was told to do by my family: get a good job, get a good pension, work hard, and that's what life's all about. And I was doing all of those things, I was going through the motions, but attending the program made me realise that there were other things that I could possibly want that I wasn't getting at that point. The power of coaching conversations to really transform someone's life was an experience I had, and I thought, I love this marketing thing, but I think I love this more. For me, the coaching just felt so much more powerful and had so much more potential to have an impact in people's lives. So I was really excited by coaching. But my family and my friends had to really go through with me a real journey. I would come back from weekends away on this course and say to my poor husband, let's unpack a few things, darling. This is how our relationship has been, but I've got all of these new epiphanies and things have to be a little bit different. And I'm really lucky that my husband kind of put up with me going through this journey of change, seeing the world differently, and went along with me on that journey. And then I was back in the workplace. I'd finished this course, I was excited, I really wanted to just coach all the time. I found the thing I really wanted to do, and I just wanted to do it. And my organisation, although supportive, said to me, well, you can coach, but it's going to be a little bit. We have these leadership programs, we're happy for you to coach a little bit on those, but you've got a job. Your job is marketing, and that's what we employed you to do. So I felt completely stuck, felt very frustrated. I now had found the thing I wanted to do, but I didn't know how I could do it. My organisation was not going to support me to do it full time, and the only other way I could see to do it full time was to be freelance or start a business. And I can tell you, I didn't see myself as anyone who was entrepreneurial. I wasn't that child in primary school who bought biscuits and then sold them to their friends, to make a little pocket money. I had never seen myself as independently running a business. And I didn't have any role models around me. The people around me had good jobs and just worked hard and were employed, and that's what they did. And so I couldn't imagine what it would be like to sort of be relying on myself. It felt risky, scary, and it just felt like something that wasn't me. So I was stuck, and I was frustrated, and I was uncomfortable, and I didn't know what to do. And a couple of things happened. Number one, my organisation supported me to get a coach, but also I had the most amazing boss. And something he said to me is something I say all the time now. Share your vision and people will conspire to help you make it happen. He said that to me. He saw my frustration and he said, tell people what you want. Tell people what you see as your future. Share with people that you want to coach and that you love coaching, and see what happens for you, because you don't know, people might be able to help you. And he was absolutely right with that. The more I talked about it, the more opportunities I got. This was completely opposite to really what I'd been brought up being told. My mum always said to me, don't share your ideas with people in case they don't happen. You're going for your driving test, don't tell anyone in case you fail. And so it was the opposite of being closed. It was more about being really open so that other people could help you. But together with my coach, I shared my frustration. And what we did was we hatched this plan that I would go down to 4 days a week in my job, and on the 5th day, I would start seeing if anyone would actually pay me to coach, to see if I actually liked coaching, because it's all right to dream about this wonderful thing, but what if I didn't really enjoy doing it? And I set myself this target. Within a year I was freelance, and my organisation has grown from providing one-to-one coaching, to providing leadership development, to about 7 years ago now, me just Googling, as you do, and finding this article on female breadwinners. I saw this article, and I thought, oh, I'm a female breadwinner. I've never thought about it before. This article was from a woman in Australia who had spoken to a number of nurses about their experience of being a female breadwinner. And some of the things they shared were emotions like resentment, guilt, and shame about being the main earner in their home. I thought, this is really interesting. My girlfriends and I talk about everything and anything, but why hasn't this come up? My clients, do they ever mention whether they're the main earner or not? And I thought, why are we not talking about this? But it was a bit like when you get a new car. You know, I've got a silver Mini. As soon as I got it, I saw silver Minis everywhere. As soon as I started thinking about female breadwinners, I started noticing that there were many female breadwinners in my life. Even down to clients who would kind of say things like, I'm in a role reversal relationship, or my partner's now retired and I bring in income, but perhaps not dwelled on it. And I thought, there's probably a huge amount of women who are the main earner in their home, but we never have conversations. So I went back to my old university and said, you said to me, come back when I want to do a PhD. I think this is the topic I want to do it in. And I don't know how many doctors there are in the room, but they said to me, it takes 4 to 7 years part-time. And I thought, oh, I haven't got that much time to kind of research this topic. I want to do something now. So I put a message out on the internet just saying, have you been the female breadwinner and how did you feel about it? I got a number of responses back. But one that sticks with me is one from a woman in America who had 3 children. And she said, I was the main earner for 3 years, and those were dark days in my life. And I thought, no one should feel like that. No woman should feel that this is a terrible thing. No man should feel, if their partner is the main earner, that this is a terrible thing. I want to do something about it. You know, there's a huge amount to do on this topic. If you go to a restaurant with a man and you're a woman, who do they give the bill to still, in this day and age? They still often hand it to the man. In 2019, nearly 2020, this is still happening. I also realised on a personal note that I wasn't really having conversations with my husband about money. Things had changed when I started my own business. My salary had increased, and my husband, who'd been an accountant, had decided to follow his passion and work with disaffected young people. Really great work, but not earning as much. On paper, it really shouldn't matter, but actually the dynamic did change. And I must admit that I'm not a perfect person. I realised that I had made some mistakes myself. I was thinking, well, it's my money. I'll make some decisions around it. I want to do these things with it. And I possibly wasn't having conversations with him about how our money was being spent. I also had a bit of personal resentment. My mother-in-law would come around, and if something was done in the house, oh, the kitchen's been done, we've got, the garden's been done, she'd always pat him on the back, my husband. Oh, well done. Haven't you done an amazing job? As if I didn't contribute at all to this. So I was feeling a bit of resentment, a bit of annoyance about what was happening here, and also knowing that if I had sort of said, well, it's me who's done this, that wouldn't have been very good, that wouldn't have been accepted very well. So trying to find a way to navigate this created some frustration with me, and it made me realise this isn't just a topic we don't discuss. This is a topic that, because it's not unpacked, leads to arguments and resentment, that I just wanted to do something about it. And as a result, I decided to interview some women. I interviewed 8 women, and I thought what I was going to do was write an article, because I really wasn't going to do this PhD. But I found so much rich material, and being a coach, I brought together sort of coaching activities and practices with it, and it ended up being this book, Rocking Your Role. And the book is a celebration of what it means to be a female breadwinner, but it's also a celebration of how you can make your relationship work as when the woman's the main earner, and also how you can make your life work well. So it's multi-level really. It's like, what about you? What about your relationship? What about your career? And how you can navigate all of those things together. And I think this is really important, because when I first wrote the book, there were 1/5 of mums in the UK who were equal or main earner. Now, 7 years later, it's 1/3. So it's increasing. This phenomenon of women earning more or earning equal is increasing, and something that we need to think about how we navigate. But what's happened is society has stood still. Society still thinks that perhaps we're coming to work for a little bit of extra cash, or just for the fun of it, when often our salary is the one holding families together. And we really need to shift that. So my passion is really to empower women in their roles, which empowers families in their roles, which actually makes a huge difference in the workplace too. And any accolade I've received or any media outlet I've managed to achieve is really about sharing that message far and wide, so that more people can feel that they're not alone in this situation. So when I talk about a female breadwinner, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about a woman who earns more than their partner, even though their partner's working too. So it can be in that situation, you can both be working, but perhaps you earn more. Or it could be a woman who's the sole earner, while her partner doesn't earn, for whatever reason. Sometimes it's your partner could be artistic, or musical, for example. They might have gigs, they might have one-off events where they earn a reasonable amount of money, but then they don't earn again for a long time. Sometimes they've been ill, or they have retired because there might be an age difference. Or sometimes they might have decided to be stay-at-home dad and look after the children. So there are many reasons for that to happen. Or it could be that you're single, divorced, or widowed, and you're the person bringing home the bacon. So a female breadwinner can look very different, and it can look different in income as well. It could be a woman working 5 part-time jobs, or it could be a very senior executive in one very demanding role. So it looks different for different people. I've got a few examples here. Chantel, and these are real clients that I've had. A team administrator, a single mum. As a female breadwinner, her challenge is earning enough to keep a roof over her head, putting in the necessary hours to actually be considered for promotion. The struggle of being able to attend evening networking events when caring for her young family. Or it could be Caroline, who's got a very senior role. Her husband's training to be a nurse, he gave up his work, decided to retrain, and he's at home looking after their child. Her challenge, balancing home and work, a long commute, doing international travel, feeling isolated as the only senior woman, not having role models around her. So a very different challenge to Chantel, it's about getting the food on the table. This one, it's about how to get to the next level. And Abby, an accountant, in a dual income family where her husband works part-time, and he does the caring for their disabled child. But when she talks about her promotion possibilities, her boss doesn't take her seriously. He's got his bits of unconscious bias there. And when her son is ill, who does the school call? Always her. Yeah, the onus is on her for caring, even though her husband is the main carer, really, in this sort of situation. So the guilt and sometimes the challenges around that. So it looks very different. I want you to know I'm not just talking about one type of woman. A female breadwinner is multi-layered and is in very different situations. But what's changed for women? What's made this happen, do you think? What are the challenges that perhaps changes that have happened for women? Well, there are a number. Actually, women can literally wear the trousers now. Do you know 40 to 50 years ago, you weren't actually even allowed to wear trousers in the workplace? Yeah? So we can actually literally wear the trousers. But also so much else has changed. Actually, previously at one point, if you went on maternity leave, you were often sacked. You know, it was, you got pregnant, you had to leave the office and not come back. Well, we can have maternity leave now. The contraceptive pill has been a huge change for women. The fact that we can decide when and if we have children. So, and also, there are more young women getting degrees than ever before. There are more women getting degrees than men currently. So, the more educated we are, the more we want to use our qualifications. It's great to be a homemaker, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But quite often, women who have degrees want to put them to use in the workplace too. So we're more educated, but also the cost of living has increased. And there aren't so many families that can afford to just have one person earning the income anymore. It's a challenge to get on the property ladder to make ends meet. And so often women feel they have to work to financially secure their family. But they're educated, they have power and control over when they have children. And legislation means that actually we're not just pushed out of the workplace now. So a huge amount has changed. And there are an increasing number of role models. And as we know, there's more publicity about it. Publicity about the gender pay gap, publicity about getting quotas and women on boards. And so these things are being looked at and scrutinised. Not enough has changed, because actually it's still going to take, I think it's 100 years to remove the gender pay gap. And we get one woman on a board and they say, well, there's 100% change. But then that woman goes, and then we're back to where we started from. So lots has changed, but there's a huge amount of work to do still. And there's a pushback. When I started reading and researching about female breadwinners, I found a lot of quite damning statistics. It pains me to actually read them out to you, to be honest. In terms of the 5 times, well, apparently, if you're in a relationship where the woman earns more, it's 5 times more likely for their partner to cheat on them. So that's not a very nice statistic, is it? Apparently, if you're in a relationship where the woman is the main earner, it's 40% more likely that you will become divorced. And quite often when I do these talks, a lot of women come up to me afterwards and say, you should have had this conversation before, because actually I'm divorced already. And apparently, even when the woman is the main earner, she's still more likely to do 83% of the housework. So we still have that burden of caring, of domestic burdens, as well as our career burdens as well. There's been some research in Denmark, which is a huge study, and it said that apparently when women are the main earner, it's much more likely for their husbands to experience erectile dysfunction. And it's a huge study. And also Anne-Marie Slaughter, who worked with Hillary Clinton, said it's physically impossible for a woman to focus on her career and be a mother as well. She was a mother of teenage children. So there have been these things that actually kind of push back against it and try and scare women into not making it work, really. You know, when you talk about divorce and cheating and the burden, all of these things can make you think, why would I ever do it? Because actually, maybe I'm not meant to, and maybe the odds are against me. I think the more that we talk about it, the more we can make it work. And I can tell you that I know of lots of success stories, and there are success stories in my book, and I've been the main earner and still am, and I've been married for 19 years, so it can actually work. But it does take some work, and any relationship does. So even after writing the book, a couple of years later, I did some further research. And I just asked, what advice would you give to women in their careers, particularly those who potentially going to be or are the main earner? And here are some of the top tips that came out, and I'm going to elaborate on them. I'm not sure how well you can see them, but the first is make your hobby your hustle. If work's going to be a huge thing for you, if you have to work and you are the main earner, then at least make it something that you're going to actually enjoy. Protect your financial autonomy. This is a really interesting one, because yesterday I was watching a news show, and they said that apparently, I can't remember how many in every couple, but most couples now have this emergency fund in case their relationship breaks down. And a woman was saying this is the most terrible thing, because that means you don't trust your partner. But the idea is that you should protect your financial autonomy, whatever that means for you. There's a glass ceiling in every organisation, but not to let that stop you. And work hard, but also be smart. It's not just about putting your head down and working hard, it's also thinking about your career and how you promote yourself. Make time for your family and friends, and have a life outside of work. Don't make work the be-all and end-all of your life. And network and get a mentor. And the last one is actually choose your partner wisely. We can't know exactly what's going to happen in our relationship. You can't know if you're going to definitely be the main earner, if your partner's going to be the main earner, how it's all going to work out. But I think having conversations with your partner about what it might be at different times, is there potential that actually, if that was the case, would you be supported? If they were the main earner, would they be happy for you to be a stay-at-home parent? Just starting to have those conversations would be a really useful thing to do. I remember when I first wrote my book, I did a program called the Female Breadwinners Leadership Program, and I remember a woman in the room saying, I would never discuss my salary with my partner. I know that I earn more, and I don't think it would go down well. That person's not with their partner anymore. I'm still in touch with her. And it's that thing that if it's going to come out at some point, what problem is it going to cause? Well, maybe we need to be talking about this early. The thing is that it's likely that it's not forever, because things happen and relationships change and different times in our life happen. But it's quite useful to talk about if there was a period that this occurred, what might that be like? So I want to elaborate on that a little bit more. So this idea of making your hobby a hustle. Well, this is an interesting one, because I don't know if you know, Victoria Beckham is now the main earner in her home. David doesn't earn much anymore, and she's got this huge clothing business, hasn't she? She probably wouldn't like me calling it a clothing business. A fashion house is probably how the best way to describe it. So she's become the main earner, and that's really interesting, doing something that she loves. But do you love what you do? Oops, did I press something there? That's right, yeah. Do you love what you do? I want you to think about that right now. I don't know how many people in this room are the main earner, but if you're going to go to work day in and day out to do something, then do you love what you do? And if you don't love what you do, what would you love doing instead? I just want you to think for a minute. If it was a Saturday morning, it was really cold outside, maybe even snowing, you were snuggled up in bed, okay? And it was just so cozy there. No one was making you get out of bed. You didn't need to go to the toilet, you're not hungry, so you don't have to go somewhere. what would be the thing? What would get you out of your house? What would it be? What would be the thing that, actually I would leave my house to do that? And I don't mean an emergency, I don't mean someone's ill or the house is on fire. It just means something that would give you so much pleasure that it was worth leaving your bed for. So I just want you to turn to someone close to you and just share that with them. What would it be? What could be the thing? And it might be someone behind you or in front of you. What would be the thing that would get you out? I'm just going to give you 2 minutes just to share that. You were discussing, who found that really hard? A few of you, yeah, okay. So it's good to know if you find that difficult, that means actually you might need to spend a bit more time thinking, what do I really enjoy? Maybe you're spending maybe you're already doing what you enjoy. So it might be, well, nothing would get me out of bed because I already love everything I do, and that's fine. But it also might be, I haven't spent much time thinking about what I enjoy much recently. Perhaps I do a lot of dutiful things, perhaps I'm a bit of a martyr, perhaps I'm doing things for everyone else. And maybe there's a bit of point for me now where I need to think about, actually, what do I love to do? So I can start to pursue that. The first step is knowing what it is. So make your hobby your hustle, yeah? Do something like Victoria Beckham. She actually found a talent, because it definitely wasn't singing. Okay. So this idea of protecting your financial autonomy, thinking about your money is key. Now, when I wrote my book and I interviewed people, it was really interesting in terms of couples, how they manage their money. They were all really different, absolutely different. Some had his pot of money, her pot of money. Some put it all together and they just said, it's our money. Some women gave all their money to their partner and said, you're much better with it than I am, you manage it. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, to be honest with you. I'm not going to say, you should have your own money, but you should know what you're doing with your money and know what's happening with it and take an interest in it. And so actually having the money conversation is a big one. Now in couples, the 3 things we argue about most are typically household chores, in-laws and money. So we steer away from them. So many couples don't have those conversations because they think it's going to end in a row. Now I do have a framework in my book for having that money conversation, but even if you don't use that framework, just starting the conversation, just starting to have those conversations in some way, which might be even about where your attitude to money comes from. Yeah? Maybe there was never enough when you were little. Maybe there was always so much that you never had to think about it. Maybe you don't want to have to think about it, but actually your partner could educate you to help you think about it in a different way. What is your attitude? How do you want to spend it as a couple? What's important to you? And just starting to have some of these conversations. Now, it can be really difficult, and what I'd recommend is always make a start, but don't aim to finish. Because I think sometimes we think we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to wrap it up in a beautiful bow, and we've done that money conversation. It's unlikely that that's going to be the case. It's let's start today, let's broach one part of it, let's start to have this conversation and know that we're going to have to continue it at different times, in different ways. So don't push it to be all done. But the more you start to talk about it, the better it will become, and the easier it will become to start managing it. So do have the money conversation. The reason why I've got Kerry Katona there is, I don't know if you know, she's been bankrupt 3 times. Yeah. Now, we don't want to be in this position. This is a woman who, it seems that a lot of money has gone through her hands, I imagine. She's been a pop star, she's been, on TV, she married a chap from Westlife, there should be a lot of money flowing through her, but she's managed to be bankrupt 3 times. It's not the situation that you want to be in. And as a woman, sadly with statistics, is that men normally die before women. I hope this is not the case. I hope you all live to a long and happy life. And so there might be a point in your life where you then have to take on managing the money. If you've never got your grips with it, if you've never worked out what you need for the future, you could really come into some problems. Or you get divorced, or whatever happens, or your partner becomes ill. So get money savvy. Try and work out and understand money for yourself, and don't wholly rely on someone else to be sorting that out for you, even if they're brilliant at it. It's important to think about what life stage you're in. You might be single, and you might be that main earner. What do you want to do with your money at that point? How can you invest for your future? You might then become a couple. It's important maybe not to give up all of your financial autonomy to someone else. And then you might have children. And this is, I think, a difficult time for women, particularly around breadwinning, because it's, do I go back to work really quickly? Do I take a long maternity leave? Does my partner then become a stay-at-home dad? What happens for me at this point? And if you are the main earner when you're in a couple, then you should be thinking, and you want to have children, you need to think about that next stage. Because if you're going to take some time off and you're the main earner, then you really need to have saved to enable you to do that. Or if your partner's going to become a stay-at-home dad, you need to make sure that you really are comfortable with that. Because I've had clients who have said to their partner, yeah, you stay at home, but when they do, then they're not happy about it. They actually thought it would be a great thing, but either they don't like the fact that their partner's really good at it, being a stay-at-home dad, or they maybe resent that situation. So be careful what you ask for and make sure it is what you really want. And then you might go back to being an empty nester and just the two of you again. And then, as I said, you might end up being on your own at some point. So thinking about yourself as a female breadwinner in all of those different stages, because it might be working perfectly for you right now, but you might look at it differently at different stages, and you might need different things at different stages. One of the women in my book, she had earned a bonus from work, and her husband was saying, well, I really want you to put it into the mortgage, because then we'll have less mortgage. And she said, I decided that it was my money and I was going to put it into my pension because I really want to be all right in later life. So it's that sort of thing. It's kind of making those decisions not just for now, but for later. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, and what she did. I'm saying you've got to decide what the right thing for you to do is. Now, your partner is really important. It was actually Sheryl Sandberg who said the most important thing in your life is the selection of your partner. And sadly, her husband has passed away now. I actually met both of them. He did seem like a really lovely man. But it's that sense of, have you got someone who's going to stick by you and evolve with you? There are quite often times when I've experienced couples where one person changes and the other partner cannot adapt to that. And I think, again, it's about continuing to talk, but it's also being open to the fact that what you see now in a relationship is not necessarily how it will always be. Can we keep changing together? Can I keep up or adapt when the other person changes? And having those conversations about what has changed. I think there's two things here. Number one, actually things are changing. Let's sit down and have a chat about what that means for both of us. But also, things are changing and they might change again. So let's not get wedded to the fact that it will always be like this as well. Because I think too often we look at now and we think it's always going to be like this, and that might not even be a good position. So it's going to change, and maybe it's changed now, but it also might change again. So be open to having a communication and thinking about, actually, as a partner, what do I need from you right now? What do I need from you, and what do you need from me? I think that's the conversation to have. Right now, I might really need your support in some way. I might be taking night classes and I need you to help me because that's going to help us in our future. Or I really need you to step up with the housework because of whatever. So actually sharing what you need. I must say that too often we expect our partner to know what we need. They just can't, intuitively know or mind read. And we get frustrated that they don't know. At least if you put it out there and been really clear, then there's no excuse. If they don't do it, or if they have a real objection to it, you've put it out there. But if you just expect the person to know, and you think, well, they're not doing what I need them to do, then that, it's two-way. They haven't been able to step up because we haven't told them. So on both parts, share what it is you need, and also value the person. Money is one small aspect of a relationship. We all bring so much more to our relationship than that. And the people who make this relationship work are the people who can value their partner for what they bring, as long as their partner does bring something. So it might be that they do step up with the housework or the childcare. I did a talk a little while back, and the husband was a stay-at-home dad, and his wife went out a lot and she did lots of travelling for her job. And he described himself as the McLaren pit stop. She comes in, I buffer up her wheels, and then she goes off again. He was really clear on the value he brought to the relationship. And he did bring something that was so important for her to keep going in her role, and she valued it. So what is it that you both bring? How do you make it work? What are your roles that you're currently rocking? And making sure that they're both described and seen as valuable and are valued is really important. There's something amazing, I think, when the woman is a female breadwinner and the partner can do his pursuits, whatever they are. Sometimes what men have said is, I'm free to choose the job that I really love, rather than being in a job that I hate, that would be mundane, that I would have just done for the money. I did a Radio 4 interview a few years back, and there was an author called Tony Parsons on it. And he actually said, I don't believe that a woman should ever be the main earner in the home. He said, I'd rather have my penis cut off than have a woman support me. He said, my dad worked in a job year after year that he actually hated to bring the income in. And I think that's what men should do. I totally and utterly disagree to that. And I think that the joy of a woman being the main earner is that perhaps the man can pursue what he loves, as long as she loves what she does too. So I think it can be absolutely liberating for both parties. Now, this is really important. Maintain a life outside work. The key, I think, for women in this role is the problem that you might have, the domestic burden, a caring burden, whether that's children or elderly relatives, and work. And that means that you're spreading yourself so thin that there's nothing left for you. The challenge of all of that is that you don't want to be selfish, you're a martyr to this cause, but actually, in a way, it's the most selfish thing, because ultimately you're not going to be around. You're not going to survive this life if you don't take some me time. Even if that's just one night, an odd night with your girlfriends, having a laugh, if it's a bubble bath, if it's a full-on retreat, if it's a walk, whatever it is, you need to find some me time. One of my clients at the moment says when she gets home in the evening, she takes an hour-long bubble bath and watches Mad Men in the bath. That's what she does to maintain her sanity. What do you do? What do you do to maintain that sanity, to get some me time for you? It's really key in order to keep going. So if there's anything that I've said today, I want you to take away, how can you schedule in something for yourself on a regular basis? You'll be a better person as a result. You'll be a better colleague, a better carer, a better spouse, if that's what you are. You'll be a better person for the people around you, and you'll also be happier. Something I encourage my clients to do at the beginning of the year is just write down some treats for themselves, whether that's a lovely bath, whether that's read their favourite book, whether that's go on a date with themselves to an art gallery, whatever it is, and then once a week pick something out and do that for themselves. I don't know what it is that you want to do, but how can you do more of it? It might even be spending more time with your partner if you have one. It might be, let's have a regular date night. Let's not, let it be all about chores and responsibilities. Let's do something much more fun. But it shouldn't all be about trudging along and responsibility and weight on our shoulders. There should be some joy in our lives. And finding a little bit of joy wherever it is a catalyst for more of that. And it just gives you a shift of perspective and enables you to break out of your ways of doing things. And this thing about breaking the glass ceiling, you're going to experience barriers. There's no doubt, with all the work in workplaces being done to increase gender balance, to increase the diversity and the talent pool of people, that you're still going to hit some bias. You will hit it, and you will hit some challenges. Whether that's the sticky floor, being kept where you are, or whether that's trying to break a glass ceiling, it's still going to be there. The more senior you're going to get, the more you're going to find yourself in rooms of people who don't think or look like you. But know that you can get through that, whether it's around, whether it's over, whether it's under. It is possible, but you will need support. You know, at the beginning of this talk, I talked about two people. A colleague who came into my office and said to me, "Where next?" A boss who told me to share my vision. A coach who encouraged me to go down to 4 days a week. Throughout my life, I've tried to surround myself with supportive people. Sorry, I thought the next one was about mentors. Supportive people. And I encourage you to get support, to get a mentor, or a coach, or a really trusted or critical friend, to surround yourself with people who really get you and what you're about. Not the ones who kind of say you can't do that or that might not be possible, but the ones who are your real cheerleaders, because we need them. And those people will help you get to the next level. Those people are not always who you expect them to be. I've got wonderful, loving friends and family, but actually sometimes the closest people to me were the people who were so cautious. They were the ones who said, "Oh my goodness, you don't want to give up your full-time job to go and become a coach. Or you don't want to do that because who knows what might happen." And that wasn't because they don't love and they don't care about me. It was much more because they had fear. But those people are not necessarily the ones who are going to push you forward. You want the ones who really believe in you and say you can do it. Find those people. If you've got them in your network already, seek them out now. Seek them out, find those networks, and surround yourself with them so you can keep moving forward. So my top tips for you as the main earner: try and get a handle on those finances. Ditch the guilt. If you feel any guilt around your role, ditch that guilt. Guilt is a set of rules that you create that you believe you cannot break. That guilt and those rules probably not even created by yourself, created by other people around you. So create your own rules for your life and start living by them. You'll feel a whole lot better. And ditch the shoulds. For me, should be a 4-letter word, S-H-U-D. Actually, there's nothing you should do or have to do. the things that you can do and that you want to do. And whatever your life situation, rewrite your fairy tale for the 21st century. You know, we were fed all of these fairy tales when we were younger. Actually, you can go and rescue someone on your white horse if that's what you want to do, or you can rescue each other. And find your why. Find the reason that you get up in the morning, the thing you want to do, and live by that. So I want to thank you for your time and attention today. These are all the things that I do in my portfolio. My book, my training, my executive coaching, my retreats, and I also have a social enterprise that supports teenagers. I have an offer for you today. I have an online program which is normally $49.99. With this coupon code, WILT2019, you can get the program absolutely free, but you have to redeem it by midnight tomorrow. So it's that website address, udemy.com/course, the-happinista-project, and you can have that program absolutely free of charge. And I have my books for sale today. My book about female breadwinners and rocking your role as one, which is $12.99, and my book, which is a leadership pocketbook about navigating life as a leader and understanding the qualities you need to develop as a leader, and that's £5. But together there's an offer for them both for £15 if you are interested in purchasing them. So I have one final quote for you. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhibit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that that which came to me as a seed goes to next as blossom, and that which came to me as a blossom goes on as fruit. I encourage you to take some risks, to craft the life you want, as a female breadwinner or not. You only have one life. Make the most of it.